Okay, so post-traumatic stress disorder can be abbreviated as PTSD and is a psychiatric disorder that happens in people who have gone through a traumatic event. The event can either be a war, a terrorist attack, an accident, a natural disaster, or being threatened by injury, death, sexual violence, or death. Did I say that? Hold on. I think I repeated myself. Injury, hold on. Sorry, guys. Okay. Post-traumatic stress disorder can be abbreviated as PTSD and is a psychiatric disorder that happens in people who have gone through a traumatic event. The event can either be a war, terrorist attack, an accident, a natural disorder, or disaster, or being threatened by injury, sexual violence, or death. Symptoms of PTSD can be intrusion, so intrusive thoughts, which are repeated involuntary memories, distressing dreams, or very vivid flashbacks. Avoidance, so avoiding reminders of the event, which include people, places, activities, objects, and situations, and even talking about alterations, and even talking about it. Alterations in cognition and mood. So you kind of block out the important aspects of the event, you just like forget it. And then negative thoughts that lead to distorted beliefs about oneself or even alterations in arousal and reactivity. So that is like being more irritable and angry and can come out in like really big outbursts, or being jumpy. So just very like watchful of your surroundings, and then also being very reckless. Treatments of PTSD can be medicine or therapy, and not everyone who goes through a traumatic event gets PTSD, and not everyone requires psychiatric treatment. And then the symptoms may even disappear over time, while others do need help from family, friends, maybe like church, or even need professional help, which you get from psychiatrists or mental health professionals. And then the professionals use psychotherapy, which is talking, or like I said before, the medicine. And then the medicine help control symptoms and allows people to participate in psychotherapy. And then the medicine is antidepressants such as SSRIs and SNRIs, which lower anxiety and physical agitation. And they treat nightmares and sleep troubles. And then some of the therapies are cognitive behavioral therapy, cognitive processing therapy, prolonged exposure therapy, stress inoculation therapy, group therapy, and peer support group.
So some of the research behind it, it discusses a lot about the symptoms and the signs, and not as much particularly as it affects men and women. So we kind of discussed how it really impacts men. But overall and in general, people with PTSD are prone to try and avoid things about the incident or experience that can lead them to re-experiencing it. Since it was so distressing, people with PTSD avoid locations or things that remind them of the experience. And that can really range from a lot of different things, but they can lose interests in like going to the movies or attending their children's like events or sporting events because it could be too loud. And they could definitely feel separated from their family and their children. But men are more likely to experience physical trauma, such as car accidents and in war. And men with PTSD are easily startled and have trouble feeling the emotions that come across with PTSD. So that can be like an experience of numbness almost. They avoid things that remind them of the trauma, and they lead to other problems such as depression and anxiety. PTSD symptoms in men are more likely to relate to anger because they have trouble controlling their feelings or expressing them because it makes them feel weak. And they can kind of take that out on their families and the women in their lives or partners. And they have a higher increase of problems with drug and alcohol use just as like a retaliation of their issues in mental health.
Some career pathways that can help people living with PTSD include a psychiatrist, and they'll be prescribing medication and engaging in psychotherapy. clinical psychologists, and there are PhD level psychologists that specialize in therapeutic techniques that can treat PTSD, licensed social workers, and they're going to provide case management services like finding a stable employment situation or a stable home life with their client. And then this is less directed with actual patients, but research psychologists research PTSD to develop a better understanding of what it means to have it and what it's like living with it and better treatments from there. And then going off of that and like career pathways for people living with PTSD is it's important to consider a job stress level and amount of social interaction, flexibility levels, the environment of the workplace, because managing symptoms of PTSD and associated conditions can be extremely difficult. So an example of a good career that someone could choose would be like working with animals, because working with animals has a lot of therapeutic benefits. So jobs falling under that category could be a vet assistant, pet sitter, dog groomer. Maintenance and repair jobs also like allow for a lot of movement that could help keep someone like distracted from just sitting and like thinking about what had caused them the trauma. So that can include like electricians, carpenters, plumbers, landscapers. A lot of freelance work has flexibility, which can help with them planning like appointments with counselors and things like that. And then another job that they also might like would be like writer or editor, because again, those are also really flexible jobs. But although these are environments that make it better, that like are positive environments for people living with PTSD, they're not limited to these. They just might be a more healthy environment.
Fortunately, that does contain a multitude of programs and policies for men with PTSD. So for example, the first one is called Responsible Fatherhood Opportunities for Reentry and Mobility. And these programs, referred to as fatherhood programs, serve reentry populations such as men who were previously incarcerated or soldiers coming back from war in our position to support them who have experienced trauma. And then the primary purposes of these agreements are to strengthen positive fatherhood child engagement, enhance employment opportunities, and improve opportunities for economic mobility. And the next program would be a men's program at Princeton's House Behavioral Health, which provides an environment for men that have experienced trauma to share their experiences and recover from it. And then the next one involving the Veterans Affairs, which is provided to all military veterans and offers education, evaluation, and treatment. And then policies involved is the Veterans Affairs once again, which is PTSD. Since PTSD is classified as a service-related disability, this qualifies veterans for financial compensation, and those that are discharged are eligible for benefits, including medical centers, inpatient treatment, and community-based clinics. And then government benefits that are not VA, that are not by the Veterans Affairs, includes Medicare, Medicaid, supplemental security income, and Social Security disability income.